Alright, new day, new video, but I don't know what to make a video about. I mean, I could do an obscure movie, or an overlooked video game perhaps, or even a comic book. Like, I just have so many options, I don't even know what to make a video about.
Hold it, right there!
Ah! YouTube? What do you want?
We've been watching you and your filthy content for some time now, and it has gone far enough. Not only do you push our copyright bots to the limit, but you keep exposing our fragile child viewers, who we definitely do not farm data from or cater to at all anymore, by the way, to violence and coarse language. And seriously, what's with all the frog dick jokes lately?
I don't know, they just kinda happened.
Well, we've had it. You will make your content child-friendly and educational, or else.
Oh yeah? Or else what exactly?
Or else we will fill your subscription feed with WatchMojo Top 10s, YouTube Rewinds, and bot-generated children's song compilations. And we'll subscribe you to Keemstar and the Paul Brothers.
Alright, kids! Who's yearning for some learning? So here's something you may or may not know about me by now, but I am not a native English speaker. I am in fact Danish. You know, just putting that out there in case some of my videos didn't tip you off. And without wanting to pat myself too hard on the back here, I sometimes get asked how I learned to speak English as well as I do. And first of all, to anyone who's ever asked that, thank you, that's very flattering. And second, well, that question actually has a few different answers. First of all, English is a required second language in Denmark. When I was a kid, we started having lessons in 4th grade, but nowadays I believe they start as early as 2nd or 1st grade. Second, we don't dub most things unless they are animated family films or intended for the youngest audiences. So we grow up with subtitles and are as such exposed to English all the time. But even with that, and I don't want to toot my own horn too hard here, I was always a bit ahead of the curve. You see, my mother used to be a Danish language teacher, so she pretty much helped me learn how to read before I even entered grade school. I also used to practice sounding out the alphabet using these fridge magnets in the kitchen in my childhood home, so I developed an ear for language pretty early on. By the time I started taking English lessons in 4th grade, I was spending most of those classes sitting outside in the hall reading books intended for kids 2 years older than me. I also grew up in a pretty small town in a pretty small country. I got bullied a lot, I didn't have many friends, and had nowhere to engage with the stuff I enjoyed. So if I wanted to talk to people or know more about cartoons, comic book games, etc., I had to go online. And there weren't exactly a lot of Danish sites or communities focused on these subjects, so English it was. I just consider myself lucky the internet started becoming common at home around this time, so I had somewhere to turn and someone to talk to. So there's your answer. Some learning in school, and a lot of learning by doing. But we need to get on with the video, so allow me to focus back on the school part for a moment. You see, back then in 4th grade, aside from our vocabulary and grammar classes, my teacher once put on a little videotape. A videotape called MUZZY in Gondoland. Yeah, I just triggered a lot of memories in my European viewers, didn't I? MUZZY in Gondoland is a British cartoon created in 1986 by BBC, intended to teach English as a second language to the viewer. And honestly, the way it does it is kind of brilliant. Basically, while it does actually tell a coherent story and thus functions as an animated movie instead of just a series of lessons, it starts off with incredibly simple grammar and dialogue, but then gradually introduces more advanced things as the plot goes on. Usually a scene will happen and a character will use a particular phrase, at which point this chalkboard-like character named Norman will appear to visually and verbally explain the grammar used. Once he's finished, the scene then continues, all while applying the lesson just learned, thus giving the viewer a better understanding of what's going on. Now, you would think that a kid that already knows his basic English would be bored out of his mind watching something like this, but no, actually. I have very fond memories of watching this in class. And you guys seem to really like when I talk about my childhood in Denmark, so I thought it would be fun to check it out and see if it holds up, as a teaching tool or just as a cartoon. Let's give it a go. The film opens in the Kingdom of Gondoland and quickly introduces our main cast. The King and Queen, Princess Sylvia, Bob the Gardener, the wicked-looking advisor Korvax, and of course the titular MUZZY himself. The first lesson is basically in descriptors, with each character quickly explaining who they are and what their core trait is. Like, the king is strong, the princess is beautiful, and so on. And I know this tape is made for children that don't speak English, but when you're an adult and you do speak English, well, the stuff they say is just hilariously blunt.
I'm fat. I'm fat. I'm fat. I'm fat.
What? No, you're not fat. You're just, you're more like, I would rather say that you're kind of,
I'm clever.
Oh yeah, he's so clever, you guys. He's so clever. Tell you what, next time you're taking an IQ test, just print out a sheet of paper with the word lemon on it written in binary. See what grade you get.
I'm brave.
Man, can you imagine if, I don't know, Spider-Man said this before he fought a supervillain?
I'm brave.
Big!
Small. Big.
Small.
They also apply it to each other, of course.
You're strong.
Yes, I am. And you're fat.
Dude, what? Come on, man. That's your wife. Be nice. Besides, look, she mostly eats fruits and berries. Like, a lot of them.
I like peaches.
When Sylvia asks if she can have some of the fruits, we then get a brief Norman segment explaining how to ask, "Can I have?"
Can I have a salad, please? Here you are. Thank you. Can I have an ice cream, please? Here you are. Thank you.
I'm sorry, who the hell is cooking back there? The Swedish chef? So, as it turns out, Sylvia is asking for this food because she and Bob are in love and are planning to run away together. But naturally, Corvax is also in love with Sylvia, so there's already a conflict brewing. Before the two head off though, Sylvia quickly goes through what she's packed.
I've got a plum and a peach and some grapes, a hamburger and a map.
We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes, it's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
After one of the more memorable segments, the A-E-I-O-U I Love You song for those that have seen the movie before, Corvax rats the two out to the king and queen, who obviously immediately head off to stop them. So they get in their helicopter to chase them down and holy shit, you killed her! The king has his insane amount of soldiers arrest Bob, and Corvax makes sure to have him thrown into cell number 19, where he meets none other than Muzzy, who finally shows up 20 minutes into his own movie. And then, in a flashback explaining how he got there, we quickly establish his favorite food.
Lovely. I like clocks.
He said clocks, you idiot! Basically, a hungry Muzzy got arrested for eating a whole row of parking meters after getting to Earth, along with the jailer's typewriter when arrested. But why this guy eats clocks, or why the literal alien in a special all about learning a new language already speaks and understands fluent English, I haven't the foggiest. They spend a little while just talking, which prompts various grammar lessons, such as where, when Bob asks where Muzzy comes from. Norman decides to explain this by showing... Oh boy! Check out the buns on Clapton Britain over here. Yeah, you better shake that moneymaker, dude. After seeing that, I'm pretty much ready to just paint a flag on my ass and start mooning people when they ask where I come from. You just watch me. I'll do it. We also briefly go through the alphabet as Bob and Muzzy write their names on the wall.
P.
I'm not mature enough for this. Eventually, after a fair amount of language lessons and a friendship song that had put We Are a Duo from American Tail to shame, the two managed to escape by having Muzzy eat the bars and crawling out the window. Back at the palace, Corvax behaves like an all-around online stalker for a while, obsessing over Sylvia before eventually building a machine that can create clones of her. They aren't fully functional right away though, which gives us a brief lesson in can and can't.
Can you run?
No, I can't.
Do you love me?
No, I don't. I don't like you.
Oh, Sylvia!
Now I can run. Bye!
Sylvia!
Oh man! I mean, just imagine grossing out a girl so badly that she spontaneously develops a new motor skill just to get away from you. I love this. Sylvia's just like, see ya bitch, I'm out! Well, a frustrated Corvax starts banging on his computer, which only causes it to create even more Sylvia copies that start messing around in the castle. And with them having differently colored dresses, we of course get a brief song about it.
You've got a green dress, you've got a red dress, she's got a blue dress, I like brown.
You know, there's something that bothers me about this scene. When Bob got arrested earlier in the movie, he told the jailer that he was 20 years old. So it stands to reason to assume that so is Sylvia, right? Now, I know these are supposed to be recently born computer-generated copies of Sylvia, and maybe this is just me, but I feel like there's something really skeevy about watching a 20-year-old woman prancing around singing about the color of her dress like she's freaking 5 years old. And this is the woman that Korvax is obsessing over? Ugh. Meanwhile, the real Sylvia is outside exercising in the garden.
Head and shoulders, knees and toes, eyes and mouth and ears and nose.
Oh boy. I'm sorry, it's just that my English teacher used to make us do that exact routine in the mornings to wake us up whenever English was our first lesson of the day, so this actually brought back a lot of memories. Muzzy and Bob meet up with her and she tells them to hide and promises to bring them food and clocks at 7 p.m. This leads to what might be my favorite Norman segment, as he explains how to tell time by using the meals of the day to demonstrate. Each time he sits down to eat, the phone rings, and by dinner time, he gets so fed up that he just fucking pours soup into the phone. And then, just to top that off, he drowns it when it calls during his bath time.
No, I'm busy. I'm having a bath.
I think Norman just became my spirit animal. He's like a dry British version of Frank Murphy.
I am eating dinner with my family, young man. I don't need a $25 Bible to teach me about God. I almost bled out in Korea, all right? I have met God.
By now, the copy Sylvias are running wild all over the castle, causing a bit of confusion for the king and queen. And by the way, I love the detail that the king is chopping down a tree in this scene. Yeah, that's what you get for throwing your gardener in jail, you idiot. Things get worse as Korvax's computer goes out of control, creating more and more copy Sylvias, until they're pretty much overrunning the castle. And the king is surprisingly calm about this, all things considered.
How many are there?
Yes, how many daughters do I have again? What? I'm the king of Gondoland. I fuck, alright?
There are 3 in the kitchen, 4 in the hall. There's 1 by the fireplace. There are 2 against the wall. I like peaches.
Realizing that the copies are coming from Korvax's room, the king rushes up to stop it by just breaking the damn thing with his bare hands. Which goes about as well as you'd expect from a silly cartoon, and ends up with the king getting sucked inside the computer. Sylvia, Bob, and Muzzy have also noticed the chaos by now, and they run to the palace, meeting several Sylvias with distorted body shapes on the way. Surprisingly, the lighting and the music actually managed to kind of make the scene a little bit creepy in a way. I mean, just look at it. It looks and sounds like something out of an ironic indie horror game.
Look, there's one.
And there's one. And there. Oh, there are lots of them.
There's a big one.
That's a bigger one over there.
Come on, Muzzy.
Anyway, when they arrive, Korvax has already made a dash for the helicopter, and while Bob chases him, Muzzy stays to fix the computer and help the king. Well, that is, after properly introducing himself to the queen, of course. Which she seems to be a little too flattered by.
What's that green thing?
Oh, that's not a thing. That's Muzzy. He's a friend.
As Muzzy frees the king, Bob goes full action movie hero on Korvax's ass and dangles from the helicopter. A good right hook later, the two end up landing on the balcony, and apparently the fight has left Korvax pretty rattled.
Who are you? Where am I? Why am I here? Who am I?
You are Korvax, and you are silly.
Yeah, that's what he is. He's silly.
Oh, Sylvia. My Sylvia. Now I've got you.
Just hold on a second while I call the police to report him for, being silly.
Yes, I'm silly.
Muzzy also manages to fix the copying machine and gets rid of all of the copy Sylvias. And I mean, you gotta love how the rest of the cast just sits there and claps at the mass suicide of a bunch of sentient AIs. Muzzy in Gondoland, lessons in language and ethics philosophy. And so our story ends happily. Sylvia and Bob get married, Korvax is demoted to a lowly castle servant, and Muzzy returns to his home planet, promising to come visit the cast again someday. And guess what? He did! In 1989, Muzzy got a sequel titled Muzzy Comes Back, which featured ever so slightly more advanced grammar. I know we watched this one in class back then as well, but I don't remember it nearly as clearly, so maybe we'll take a look at that one too sometime. Now, Muzzy in Gondoland may not exactly be a household name, but it actually had decent success, and it has been translated to teach a slew of languages, including French, German, Italian, and Spanish. It also got a CGI remake in 2013, but, yeah, I think you're better off just watching the old cartoon. Yeesh. So how does Muzzy hold up, as a language course or as a movie? Well, obviously I'm not a language teacher by any stretch, so take anything I say with a grain of salt, but I personally think it holds up pretty brilliantly. It builds itself very effectively on a show, explain and apply system, and all of Norman's grammar segments and the songs, which honestly I barely scraped the surface of in this video, are just fun, creative, charming and catchy enough that you never really zone out and stop paying attention. Now you could point out that the animation is very simple, and obviously the dialogue and story aren't exactly anything particularly deep or complicated. But all these characters, including Norman, are just so damn fun and likable in all their simplicity that you can't really bring yourself to care about that. Keep in mind, I watched this in 4th grade, so I must have been like 10 or 11 years old at the time, and I already knew the language. So by all accounts, I should have found this way too babyish to really care, but no! I remember me and my class found it incredibly charming. In fact, we begged our teacher to show it again shortly before summer break that year, just because we thought it was delightful. And she happily showed us the sequel the next year as well. Honestly, I think this would still work super well as an introductory course in English to a non-native speaker, or even just as language lessons for young children. Muzzy's charm is universal, and so are the endless jokes you can bring out of it as a snarky adult YouTube asshole like me. There! I did something child-friendly and educational. Are you happy now?
No, no, no! That was terrible! You made so many foul jokes! There was so much cussing!
Well, yeah, but it was still a video about an educational piece of children's media. And it was even a really good one, so it's not even like I feel punished or anything. So, look, I did what you asked, just get off my back, alright?
Oh no, we are not done with you. You will be a wholesome and educational channel. And you'll do so through your precious video games.
No! You don't mean...
Yes! Now come on, dear Ash. It's time for you to play some edutainment games!
No! Hey everybody, and thanks so much for joining me on memory lane as I checked out Muzzy in Gondoland. If you enjoyed yourself, please give the video a like and let me know in the comments if you would like to see me cover the sequel sometime. Special thanks go out to Silvermoon Ravenwolf, Warren Miller, Eli Cat, Pocket Mouse, and all my other patrons for their support. It means the world to me, you guys, it really does. If you'd like to support me as well, you can find links to my Patreon and Ko-fi pages in the description below, as well as to my Discord server, which you're more than welcome to join. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel so that you'll be the first to know when new videos come out. Thanks again for watching everybody, and see you next time. Bye bye!